We are live on Twitter. Twitter is the first one.
Hi, Twitter.
Hey, we are live.
On YouTube, live
Hey, YouTube.
on Twitch, and also now on LinkedIn.
Great. Hey,
Yeah.
guys. It's
Great.
so nice to see you
Hey.
in all the platforms and around the world. It's 3 Smartists in one room from Germany and from Latvia tuning in today to give you some behind the scenes about our social media posts from previous weeks. We do this on bi-weekly basis. So every second week we get together and speak about the social posts that we wrote a few weeks before. The posts that got the most impressions, the most likes, started the discussions that might have turned into hotter discussions, and that's something that we're going to discuss today. The topics are differences in recruitment and work life. Goals and work life. So each and one of us, Maya and myself, we're going to have 2 posts looking back at these topics and sharing some insights, why we wrote it, why we talk about it, what people said, so that you can also join the discussion and let us know about your experience on these topics, what it was like, what you liked and disliked. So feel free to use the comment section below or up, wherever it is on the platform that you see us, to join the discussion. But yeah, nice to see you guys. How are you doing?
Hopefully well after this day. It's sunny in our live. Thank God. It's full of positive emotions here.
Yeah, that's the right way to see it. But okay, then let's start with the first post, I would say. And that's about goals and work life, right?
Yes, let's jump.
Maya, go on. Why this post? Why you wrote about it? What was so exciting?
Yeah, this is my post. This is my post. So yeah, I mean, it's a very, very, very simple reason, really. I mean, once you speak about goals in work life, there are only so many goals that you can reach or want to reach, and having or getting a promotion is definitely in the top 3, I would say, if not top 1, top 2. There's a lot going on when it comes to getting a promotion or asking for one, because of course there are many ways to get a promotion. You can get promoted like from an employer's side, like you are doing a good job and employer sees that and he recognizes you and he promotes you. That's the best way, I think. Of course, there are bigger companies or some other times when you feel yourself that you are ready to be promoted. So that's when you are taking the things in your hands and you are showing initiative from your side and going to your employer and showing that you are wanting this promotion. So yeah, this is the reason I wrote this post. I wrote a few tips in there. So I got a few comments on this as well. I love that Lena's favorite tip was the second point, to have achievement list ready when you go to your employer, which is something that I would like to discuss a bit further. For example, like, what do you understand with going to your employer and talking about your achievements? So from my side, it would be definitely to have some kind of a list prepared that you are showing what value are you bringing to the company. So what is the thing that you are doing so well that you deserve to be promoted for? So having this list of achievements or list of things that you are doing on day-to-day basis is really good to have, because sometimes we all know we do multitasking and stuff like that. So after a few years or so, your tasks can grow from few when you began and to quite a long, extensive list of things that you are doing. So definitely don't make the mistake of undervaluing your job that you do in the company where you work. So this is what I loved about the second point. And by the way, Ersin's favorite point was the last one. Yeah, I mean, if you don't get a promotion after this conversation, be or feel free to set a time frame where you are very comfortable in staying in this position, because there's only so many times when you can ask for a promotion. Like, don't give up after the first time, definitely, but set some kind of a time frame, like even if it's few months, a year, 5 years. Don't be afraid to do that for yourself, because it is your career and it is your life. So this is what you should definitely do. Yeah, I mean, Liana, what would you say? What would be your tips for someone wanting to have a promotion or going to their employer and asking for one?
Good question. I was actually doing a little preparation with a friend of mine a few weeks ago regarding her promotion. So we discussed a few things here and there, and the points that you already mentioned in your post, like having a list of achievements, was something we went in detail discussing, because I know a lot of people make, I would say, this mistake, because currently we have a worldwide crisis, the prices are increasing, and a lot of people, they just go request this conversation and then start going on about things happening in life and how everything is getting more expensive, and that their salary should also increase based on inflation and everything else. And this is definitely the wrong way how to do it, because it's about you, it's about your value in the company, the value you can add. So also with a friend of mine, she already had a list, but what we added was the compliments that she was receiving before. Because on a way, when you do the job, you hear from your colleagues and from your manager sometimes, hey, this was great, I really like that, in a form of email or even in a reference. So collect these things together as well, because there's nothing worse than being unprepared for such kind of conversation. You rather have a long list that you can present, because that would also show to your conversation partner that you know your value, you know what you are bringing to the table, and this is the time where you showcase it in order to get a promotion. The other thing to keep in mind is, I don't know how much people know about the career structure in their company and what is that they can ask for, but also speak about direct numbers, like what you would like to have as an increase, instead of just saying, yeah, I would like an increase, because it needs to be very concrete. And also set a time frame until which you would like to receive the promotion or get the salary increase, because leaving this conversation with just a good feeling that this is going to happen is not really a reason for that happening if you don't set a timeline, right? It's just the same as saying, like, with your friends, yeah, let's meet up today. Like, today can be 6 o'clock in the morning and today can be 20 o'clock in the evening. So you have to see when it suits you the best. So this would be something that I would suggest, and something I discussed with my friends. So yeah, how do you see it, Erzen? Because I do know that you're more like pragmatic. Say that in a way. So what would be your suggestion? Have you asked for a promotion so far in any of your jobs?
Yes, I think so.
How did it go?
Not so good in this way.
Really? Why not?
Yeah, because at this time I haven't heard so nice tips like you have given, but I like it. But in the end, if it's not working out, I think the last step would be to leave the company. And sometimes it's like, if you said it loud to your boss, to your manager, that you want to leave the company, the promotions can come in very quickly,
or not come at all, right?
or
so that's the situation.
Yeah, that's a bit like poker.
Yeah. So what do you do? Because I mean, your manager is most likely in a situation, the most of the managers I have met, it's bad to say that, but they are kind of supporting you. But when it comes to the budget, they cannot really support you, right? Because company wants to save as well. So they like what you're doing, but the money it's just not there. So it would be hard for them to organize it. So yeah, usually how these conversations end, or very often if you're not prepared that there is no set deadline, nothing really happens. And of course, your motivation as an employee is just going down in the keller, right? So
yeah,
what to do in situations like that? I think a lot of people have experienced that. What would you say? Continue to maybe get there someday, or go with, there's a suggestion to leave?
I don't know.
What's
I
the
mean,
best
me
way out?
personally, it really depends on the position and how happy I've been there, how happy I am, and how long I've worked there. So how much have I invested it? And it, at the end of the day, I would definitely support my decision on my inner feelings. Like I have my instinct would definitely be the thing that I would feel, because there's definitely a reason for wanting a promotion. There's of course a reason for not getting it. And depending on the reason, I would definitely decide. But I really loved both of your points about so these tips that we should give to potential candidates that could, or people could, who could come to us and asking for support and ideas for asking a promotion. But definitely, so I would say, if I would have to like summarize or give my tips also, I would say that my tips for reaching the goal of a promotion in a job place would definitely be prepare. So this is a huge one. Have a reason for wanting this promotion. Second would be have a list of achievements and things that you do day-to-day basis in your job place. So definitely be prepared to show the value that you are bringing to the company. Definitely you can research the job market as well. So don't be afraid to know your worth in the job market, because we know the world is changing day by day. And definitely don't be afraid to set a time frame for wanting to receive a promotion, because at the end of the day, this is your life, this is your career, and you shouldn't be staying around and waiting for years and years and years for having a promotion that you feel like you definitely deserve. That would be my tips.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing summary, really. Nice. Guys, share us also with us also in the comments, how did your promotion go? Did you get a promotion? Did you get a pay increase? Or if it was a flop, what went wrong? So, all right. Moving on to the next post.
Yeah, let's try it.
Let's do that.
Let's try it.
Give it a try. Everything is responsible for the technical side, so a round of applause for him for the setup today. He's juggling with 5 computers and an iPad and an iPhone to make this whole thing work. So yeah, really, heads up. I wouldn't be able to get something like this in the format that you have and see here today. So a real respect. A real respect here for everything. But yeah, we will continue with the same topic. I will deep dive in the post that I wrote, and why I liked it. It started a discussion, absolutely, and it got 2,378 impressions and 19 likes, which is, I would say, for my audience, an average post. An average post. I have had, like, when it comes to impressions and likes, a better one, but not in a bad way, you know.
But Liana putting my post to shame.
No, not at all. Not like that. I mean, we all are in different stages of life, right? And what we do. But here's the post. It's about choosing the right interview partner. Because, you know, we all always talk about candidates and that they should prepare for job interview and they should come ready and they should know everything about the company, what to expect. So they have to put on their A game, right? But isn't it the same thing when it comes to the person interviewing the candidate? And it's so important to choose the right person. So my audience for this post was more HR managers or company owners, to showcase them how important it is to choose the right person and what the criteria should be. Because I mean, I'm part of a lot of interviews on day-to-day basis where our candidates participate. And it's so interesting for me after each and every interview when I take a feedback from candidate to hear how they found the interview partner. Because some say, whoa, amazing, great personality, great leadership skills. I want them to teach me how to do the job and be part of their team. Whereas other candidates are giving a negative feedback saying, yeah, it was fine. It seems like the interviewer is there, but not that interested in the company themselves. I got an overview, but yeah, let's see how it goes. So this is something that really fascinates me and why I wanted to write this post about as well, because we do prepare our candidates for interviews. We let them know to research the interview, what format to expect from the interview. So I also once, like behind the scenes here, had a situation where one of our candidates did a really good research. They were prepared 110%. They researched the interview partner and found out that the person who was about to interview them wants to leave the company and is actively looking for a job themselves. So it was interesting because when they shared the interview feedback with me, they were like, yeah, it was kind of fine, but I sensed the fact that they want to leave the company because I saw previously that they openly posted that on their social media platforms. So yeah, even though if I would become a part of the company, this person will be gone sooner or later. So imagine what kind of feeling this candidate got in this situation, right? So
Definitely.
it's really worth thinking about the interview partner. I don't know. Let us know in the comments. Have you had situations like this? Because I'd be very curious to hear about it. But yeah, have you had interviews like this where you had someone who's like, whoa, where you have a feeling that I don't care what the company offers, I'm in it just because of this person, or like the other side? What's your experience, guys?
For me, the person that I'm having the interview with makes like a huge difference. Like if the person is happy and friendly and open and communicative, then my first impression is that he is quite happy working in this company, which means that I could potentially also be happy. And opposite to that as well, if the person that I'm speaking to is like annoyed, stressed out, unfriendly, unmotivated, and really not into his or her job, then this is my first impression about the company. So it's not about my first impression about the person that I'm speaking to. It's more about the company where he or she works. So it really is, in my eyes, one of the most important things that all companies should be wary about. So the person that you put out there as your first contact should definitely be someone who is really showing off the best qualities of the environment that you are offering people to work in.
100%. Because there have been situations that I have experienced as well where the interviewer themselves, they come late, kind of still in the middle between interviews, kind of sometimes even discussing something about that interview with the candidate. And then they're like, hey, what is going on? So it really sends a signal about the company environment as well, right? And appreciation or less appreciation towards the possible newcomer. So it's interesting to see. Harrison, what about you?
I was lucky in my life. I had never a bad interviewer. So me personal, in my talking in the perspective of my candidates, I think I had some. But okay, I think it's like writing a CV. Not everybody is good in interviewing. So you can be, I don't know, a good technical guy, developer, programmer, or whatever, but that doesn't mean that you are also a good interviewer. So I don't know. I think it's a big task for companies to do this better, to choose the right one, and I think that's hidden. What do you call it?
Talent.
Yeah, hidden talent to choose the right one who does the first interview. I mean, it's mostly the first personal touch point with the company and the candidate. So I don't know. I think definitely some points who have a closer look into.
Yeah, I mean, to give a summary, how to choose the right interview partner, see who is like a real advocate of the company, because this person will be the face of your company to the outside. Also, someone who is real advocate in the duties that they do and talk about the company and what they do in a positive manner. That's in the first place. Secondly, choose someone who is a true leader. It doesn't need to be a manager, but someone who people really look up to, enjoy spending time with them, because then it all is going to come like naturally and it's going to have a flow, and that's something that makes candidates excited about the potential employer and the potential role. And the third thing, see who shows also initiative to do these interviews. It does not necessarily need to be a manager. It can be someone who's just having the right skill set to do it and likes to engage in hiring process, because not everyone is. Very often we see managers who get the new title and suddenly get a new duty to interview people, but are not meant for that or don't really want to do it. Of course, all in all, it's a skill that you can train, in my opinion, and companies should definitely train the people doing the interviews. So make sure you train your people, you have someone inspiring, and then I'm sure you will win this war of talent, how we call it these days, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Moving on.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. How
so
great posts, right? I mean, I like the posts
really
that we chose for this slide.
I like the photos, like your photos that you choose for posts. They're very personal, very like with energy. I think it's very cool. But yeah, moving on. We have.
I tried to put a thought behind it. Yeah.
Noted.
Okay, I'm ready.
Noted. You're ready. So we're ready. Next topic is differences in recruitment, right? And here, I think both of us are touching upon the CV application topic. So what was your post about, Maya?
Yeah, well, if we are speaking about differences in recruiting, I mean, recruiting involves so many stages of a person getting a job, and differences in resumes is a big one.
Ooh,
so
huge.
We as recruiters, we see resumes every day, not all day, but every day, all day. We see so many resumes, and we always have feedback to give, either good or bad. I would like to say constructive.
Ready to judge.
Ready to judge.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, this is something that is, we have all made CVs. We have all written a CV, at least one before. For example, the place where I first learned to write a CV from was my school. It was like I was in 8th grade, I think, and the format we had been teaching with was very boring. Right now, with my eyes, seeing how I learned to do it, was very boring. So my first CV wouldn't have gotten me any jobs. I can tell you that much. But touching upon my experience, so every time when a candidate sends me his CV, I get a first impression of it, and some CVs are very memorable, and some of them are not so memorable. Some of them have so much information that I would say it's too much information, and some CVs have very little information. Like, to be quite honest, sometimes I can tell or say more about person's skills from their LinkedIn profile than from their resume. This shouldn't be like that. There definitely should be some points to be very about and should be paid attention to. And yeah, I mean, the resume is something that you have as your signature. This is the first impression that every employer will see of you, and recruiter as well. And this is the reason why you can even not be invited to an interview, regardless 100%. Of how good you are. If your resume is not good, then you might not get invited, and that's a huge thing. So even if sometimes we as recruiters, we give feedback and we maybe ask you to update something or upgrade something, it is really only for your benefit, because we see the potential in you and the things that you could do or interviews you could be invited to if the resume would be a little bit better.
Small things can make huge differences. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
huge
for sure.
Differences, exactly.
And I mean, we are here to help you, because we know what the companies are looking for. We know what they screen for. So that's why I know it might take a little bit of extra effort, but imagine if you get this role at the end of the day, you will be thankful for the time that you invested and for the tips you got. So, because not everyone was born to write a CV and does not know how to do it well. Each of us has different talents. So here you can rely on the talent of your recruiter to help you with your CV and it shining when it comes to getting job interviews. But if I may give you like a great live example, a good friend of mine, she was looking for a new role, and she is German. She's born and raised here, but her name is not that German, right? And we heard a lot of times regarding name, like how it also impacts if you get invited for an interview or not. It's just another topic, right? But she posted her CV in CV databases. Stepstone, Monster, Indeed, and she had different type of CVs. With one CV where she didn't have a photo, for example, and didn't mention her nationality, which is German, no interview requests, no calls from recruiter, nothing. She changed it, just two things. She added a photo and added her nationality. Total difference. Calls, interview invitations, it made such a huge difference. So it can be these two small things where some people might think like, yeah, but it's personal information. I don't even need to mention things like that and stuff like that. But play around with it, like, you know, that's also something that that I can suggest. And knowing the cultural differences here might also play an important role. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great tip to give. Like, yeah, small things matter, definitely. I read a few of the comments that I got on my post, and one of them was very funny. Like, for example, if we are really speaking about not really serious resumes, but funny ones, then she wrote that she got a very interesting resume, which had really only one sentence on it, and it's I'm the one, take me. I mean, she thought that the candidate had a funny humor, like sense of humor, but I mean, yeah, sure, it's from the same theme that I mean, why should I hire you? Yeah, I'm looking for a job. I need to pay my bills, and you need someone to do your tasks. I mean, what a sometimes stupid question is that? Like, why do you want us to hire you? But yeah, so definitely there are some tips that I could give, and I definitely will, for a good CV or a good resume. So my tips for a good resume would definitely be, first of all, avoid big chunks of text. It's very annoying and very it's not pleasing to the eye if there's 4 A4 pages with chunks of text. Divide the information. For example, describe the position that you are working on currently, describe your tasks, describe your achievements, and in our world IT, describe the technologies that you are working with. It will be very, very pleasant to the eye. It will be very overseeable, and it will definitely not cause anyone to be distracted and not even willing to go through all the text that's on your resume. Definitely, the second one would be, don't be afraid to use color. Anything that's visual is really, really good to have, because I cannot tell you how many resumes I've seen that I don't even read the information, but from the looks of it, I think, wow, that's a cool resume. I want to read it. I want to know what's in there. So visuals really do matter. And third one would definitely be, keep the information that's in your resume relevant to the position where you are applying for. So for example, the volunteer work that you did in 4th grade, it really does not matter. It shouldn't be on your resume. It shouldn't make your information fulfilled with some things that are not supposed to be there. So keep your information relevant. If you are applying, for example, for a front end position, for an IT position, then keep everything on your resume that is IT relevant. Anything else really will make no difference. Maybe even make it worse just by having so much information on there. That would be my tips for a good resume.
Amazing. Write a resume like this and you will get hired. Yeah. I like we received a comment from one of our listeners, right? Saying that I thought my CV was great. Abdulaziz wrote that it didn't pass Liana's audit. I just gave my best tips for you to have an even more perfect CV. I hope you know it that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, very good tips. So we have chosen the right interview partner, right? From the company side. We have an amazing CV. What else do we need in order to get hired? I think we can go on to the next post, right? Or Ersin, do you want to add something to this one?
No, I'm working on the next one already.
Okay. Yeah, so the next one is gonna continue with the topic, differences in recruitment.
Yay, Liana's post.
Here,
I love those posts.
Yours was pink, mine is white, mine is like the one that does not leave the impression. But yeah,
memorable impression.
I wanted to touch upon in my post and speak about the cultural differences, because from country to country, it's different what you include in the CV, what is considered to be a complete application. And Germany is also very specific when it comes to that, because I recall one of the situations earlier in my career where I was presenting a bunch of CVs to the manager to see who would be invited for an interview and who wouldn't. And their comment was like, oh, this CV does not include a photo. It's not a complete application, so we're not going to consider them for the role. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, it's a great CV. It's just missing a photo. Like, are we really saying no? Because it's hard to find very good and qualified people. And it can happen in situations like this, where you really have someone strictly taking the requirements into account. And then you can land in the unfortunately not kind of pile, or you might be even having an application tracking system, ATC, that automatically also puts your application into unfortunately folder. So here with this post, I wanted to give tips to internationals about what it's like to have a complete application and what are the things you need to include. And it got over 1,600 impressions. Fine. 10 comments. 10 likes and a comment from also an international saying that they were not aware of the fact that you need to include a picture in the CV. So this was earlier in their career, an eye opener, because in Germany it's like an unwritten rule. I know in the US or in the UK you would not put a picture in your CV, but here in Germany it's considered to be a part of your application. Also, another thing about references, here in Germany, every company, when an employee leaves the company, needs to write a reference about them. There's also a note system. So the HR manager gives notes about what your work was like. Did you do your job well, less well? And then the reference is basically shadowing what it was like, what the grade is. So it's another topic to deep dive into because there are great references, there are less great references, but that's something that every employer would give to the employee upon leaving the company. Other countries, Latvia, for example, I know Maya, you also have seen the situation most likely that our employers, they don't give a reference to the employees, right? It's just not something that we would do in our country. So that's why,
you would have to ask extra for
you would need to ask. Yeah. So in this case, actually, it's good in the country if you don't get references like directly to ask your manager or your senior colleagues to write you a one. That's something I would definitely suggest. Or I know that there are also some situations that the person that commented was talking about where also the companies reach out to previous employers to ask about references. There's also a thing like that going on, but yeah, I don't know. But to let you know, here is a list of things you should have for your application in Germany to be considered complete. If you have this already, no one can say no. It's a CV with a nice photo. It's a motivation letter. Those are references from your previous employers. It's also a diploma from university, your degree with a grade transcript, or from your apprenticeship. So basically the highest education that you have received, diploma with a grade transcript, is something that German companies would expect. If you don't have such thing in your country but are still applying in Germany, get references from your previous employers just to make sure that your application is complete. Yeah. What do you guys actually think about all these papers that we need here in Germany in order for the application to be considered complete? Necessary, unnecessary? I think a lot of people would actually wonder about motivation letter, because we receive questions about it quite a lot. Is it necessary, not necessary? What do you think?
Definitely not necessary.
Clear.
I mean, some of the things are necessary, could be necessary, but for example, the same motivation letter. I mean, if you are applying to a company directly, then maybe I could understand the need for a motivation letter. But if you are speaking with a recruiter, then he is your outlet for your motivation. You are expressing your motivation to your recruiter, and then he will pass it on. So having a motivation letter for a recruiter is not really necessary, in my opinion. I know that I also most likely will not require one from a candidate. That's not what I'm really focusing and looking on. That's what I gather when I'm speaking to them. But as of the rest of the things, I mean, sure, if some things are mandatory in Germany, it's just the way it is, and it can stay like that. But yeah, not all of the things are necessary, definitely, I would say.
Yeah. I would never, I would save the time to formulate a motivation letter and spend the time more in customizing your CV to the right position.
Yeah.
But I get the point with that you have to do it. You need a motivation letter if you go the right German way, apply on the homepage, and then I think it's necessary, definitely. But a tip from my side, I would go on LinkedIn, search for the recruiter who is responsible for this position, and send my CV to him directly and say, hey, I'm interested in this position. Let's have a talk. And I think then you save a lot of more time than always writing these. I don't know. It's always so. It's always the same. You can do it really good if you I don't know, invest 1 hour and write a really great customized personal motivation letter to this special role. It can be like an advantage, but the most motivation letter I read is it's always the same. So let it out.
I agree. All right. I think we're through our posts, right?
Yeah,
yes,
already.
yes.
Yeah.
41 minutes.
41 minutes. That's great. It was a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun chatting with us today, discussing and hearing some insider information from our day-to-day life. We will continue in 2 weeks, as already discussed. And yeah, hope you had a nice lunch break with us, and see us in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. Can't wait, guys. Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.